Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
All right, we are at number 25 of the 49ers roster countdown, and fan favorite. Oh, man, it quickly turned into his personality just jumps. And I feel like the 49ers have been really, really lucky with these kind of undrafted or late round wide receivers. Jauan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, Trent Taylor. Like, we've had these guys come through and play big roles, and none bigger than Jauan Jennings. You know, when Kendrick Bourne left, I was so happy for him because he got that huge payday. You know, not really worried about quote-unquote worth it, but I was just happy to see him get paid. And Jauan Jennings able to step in. Not much lost, which is crazy because Kendrick Bourne is unreal, and the personality that he brings with it's unmatched. Well, here we got Jauan Jennings. First name's Bernie. I did not know that, which is awesome. Phil the Birdie. Wide receiver, number 15, 6'3", 212 pounds. He's 24 years old. Now, what people don't know, we're going to be going over film. I'm going to show you highlights. We're going to be going over background, what he did in college, which is crazy in basketball. He actually got kicked off his team in college. A lot of people don't know that either. We're going to go through that whole ordeal and how he was able to remedy that and eventually become one of the all-time leaders for Tennessee and SEC school with the storied past in receptions. I mean, this dude is just... he's different. That's all I could say. So we're going to, and most importantly, we'll finish the episode with what he's going to do in 2022 with our stat projections, receptions, yards, touchdowns, all those different things. We got you. So this dude's 24 years old, young. Now he's entering his third season, but for contract purposes, his second season. He was drafted the 7th round pick, but was waived because he had a hamstring issue. So they waived him, cleared waivers, brought him back on the practice squad, sat him all year. Because of that, his rookie year doesn't count as a year. It's not a year contractually. So the 49ers brought him back and signed him on a 1-year deal, and that's kind of the way that it goes on these rookie 4-year contracts. Until you get those accrued seasons stacked, he will not be a free agent. So last year, 2021, was actually his contractual rookie year. This is his second year, which means the 49ers will have him for 2 additional years as a restricted free agent. Think Daniel Brunskill, Kendrick Bourne, very similar concept as well. So he's going to be around for a while on the cheap for the 49ers, which is nice for the 49ers. Sucks for him. He has to wait a little bit longer to get paid. But if he continues on the pace he's on, yeah, Kendrick Bourne deal plus is in his future. Now, he grew up, went to Blackman High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just southeast of Nashville. If you haven't been there, one of the coolest logos, the Blackman Blaze. They have blue and orange colors. Think Bam Bam Bigelow on the side of their helmet. Pretty cool uniform there, and I love original mascots. I don't know why. I'm a weirdo. He was a 4-star recruit. This dude was a big-time recruit. And I'm going to go ahead and throw up the film now. This is a breakdown that I did for Patreon. His best game by far, and we'll detail this considerably, was against the Rams. And so I went through and just watched every single offensive play for just number 15. And I think it's like a 35-minute breakdown with coaching notes, and you'll see my mouse move around and pause it. Well, that's because I'm talking and breaking down what he did or didn't do. If you want to check that out, again, I think we're at 250 plus videos on Patreon, breakdowns like this one. If you want those, patreon.com/49ers Rush Podcast. As we get closer to the season, I really do believe in what we share and what we put out there, because we'll go over every offense and defensive snap from every single game for the 49ers. You get all of that. Plus, if you want to watch some rookie film, that's there too. So check that out. Now, he chose to go to Tennessee, but before that, let's go back to his high school days. He was a 2-sport beast. Played basketball in high school, led his team to a state championship. He was a top 200 basketball recruit his junior year. Averaged 12.3 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 2.9 assists. Dude was a baller. After he won the state championship, they asked him what his favorite sport was. He said football. They asked him again, okay, if you had to pick something besides football, what's your favorite sport? He said football again. The physicality that he brings brings to the game is second to none. And his whole family's full of athletes. Dad was a 4-year letterman at the University of North Alabama. He was a first-team All-American. His dad, he was in the UNA Hall of Fame. Older sister, Alexis, played college basketball at Kentucky and South Carolina. She was a second-team All-SEC player. I mean, yeah, athletes. Now, he was 2014 Mr. Tennessee, which goes to the best athlete in the state. Division I, Class 3A. As a senior, had offers from Alabama, Penn State, Ohio State. So the pedigree is top-notch. Went to Tennessee as a quarterback. They were really, really bad. They moved him to wide receiver his freshman year. Ended up breaking his wrist, had some issues, all those things. Made fun of the coaches on social media, and he got kicked off the team. But then it was a really bad time there in Knoxville. They all the coaches get fired, new coaches come in, and again, what he basically went live calling them, quote, fake lying snakes, and the coaches were holding them back and to bring us a coaching staff that's honest, end quote. Gets kicked off the team. All the coaches get fired. They bring in new coaches. New staff brings him back smartly. And how did he reward this new coaching staff? 2019 PFF All-SEC second team. 2019 Blitnikoff Award watch list. Made it to the Senior Bowl. Left Tennessee 5th in receptions, touchdowns, and 4th in yards. Just put up some crazy, crazy numbers. Named ESPN Surprise Offseason Standout of the Year. Just incredible what he was able to accomplish. Now, goes to the combine, had a bad combine. Kyle Shanahan's quote, didn't have the best combine, but you watch the tape and he is a bulldog, end quote. And his combine was bad. 4.72 40-yard dash, not good. Broad jump 119, not good. Didn't do the 3-cone, 29-inch vertical. Yikes, more yikes. Now, if you just look at his bad combine performance, the metrics and the comparables, Stevie Johnson, who the 49ers have had it, right? This guy that's just a good route runner. You can't figure out why. He just always gets separation. And Kareem Osgood, who's with the Vikings. So you get these guys that perhaps are better football players than they are athletes whenever it comes to measurables. They're just damn good, and it just works. Stevie Johnson just makes so much sense whenever you look at what Jauan Jennings does. And because of that bad, combine, he fell all the way to the 7th round, pick 3, 217th overall in the 2020 draft. And that was a pick that we got in the Eli Harold trade. Crazy to go back that far. Eli Harold, that is incredible. As we keep going through this roster countdown, how we acquire all these players, goodness. A lot of them. Dre Greenlaw, who we haven't gotten to yet. Colton McKivitz, right here. Jauan Jennings. Got them basically all for free. Almost all of them for free. By giving up these back end of the roster players for these future draft picks. And, man, imagine what this roster would look like without Jauan Jennings and Dre Greenlaw, who you got for free in player-for-player trades. Colton McKivitz, a little less so, hasn't had that big of an impact as these two have. But a couple other quotes. After he was drafted at the press conference, Kyle Shanahan said he plays in the slot but could play linebacker, and he wants to fight everyone. John Lynch said he could play safety if he wants to. I love his attitude. And what Jauan Jennings has brought to this team, I think he had 2 or 3 pancakes in this game versus the Rams alone. It's just its attitude, its physicality. I refer to him as a wide receiver plus. Which means, he's a wide receiver. He splits out. He can get open, all those things. But you can use him as a tight end. He's a big dude now, and he plays big. So when he's 6'3", 212, but he plays like he's 6'3", 230, he's like a little H-back, fullback out there that's blocking. And little is probably not the right word. Can he block as well as Kittle or Warner? No. But, man, he put people on the ground. Ask Trayvon Diggs about him. That dude got bodied in that wild card game, and that kind of set the tone. You had Trayvon Diggs coming out there talking about how, we're going to bully. I'm a bully mentality. I'm going to bully the 49ers, all that stuff. That dude got bodied by Jauan Jennings and set the tone of that Dallas game in their own house, slamming dudes. I think that comes across. My draft write-up on Jennings, 30 broken tackles on 59 catches. Most broken tackles in the NCAA by a wide receiver. Now, he's not a yak guy like the Debo play that's on the screen right now, where he's just running through tackles and things. That's not what he does. It's different. It's a different yards after catch than Debo or Ayuk. It's not that. It's more of a Kittle style type thing. He's not breaking tackles with speed or any of that stuff. He's wiry and tall and just determined. That's what he does. Tough. Seems to love contact going over the middle. Top end speed's non-existent, but somehow he gets separation consistently. That's what Charvarius Ward said. This is my draft write-up when we drafted him. Charvarius Ward said, he was asked about which wide receiver is the hardest to guard. He said, Jauan Jennings. He's like, that dude just gets separation all the time. It's not with speed. He just understands it. Back to my draft write-up. Once the ball's in his hands, watch out. One of the most violent runners ever. If you see him on go route, if you send him on go routes, you're dumb. Speed's not there. Very heavy-footed out of his stance. He's heavy-footed the whole time. You could hear his steps even when the film is silent. Best contact balance of any wide receiver, any underscored in the draft. That's what I got for him. Now, again, go back to 2020. His quote-unquote rookie year, didn't play at all, had a hamstring injury. It was real bad, sat the whole year on the practice squad. But because of that, he's now cheap for an extra year. What did he do in 2021? Unbelievable. Played in 16 games, only had one start, but really, he didn't come by. Mohamed Sanu was the starting number 3 wide receiver. Mohamed Sanu went down week 9. That's when Jauan Jennings' playing took off. He had to wait a full year and then 10 weeks before he got his opportunity to step up. He never had more than 10 offensive snaps the first 9 games of the season. Once Sanu went down, he had at least 25 snaps, offensive only, moving forward all the way through the playoffs. The patience the 49ers showed in this guy, they believed in him, allowed him to develop. You could talk about Ambry Thomas. You could talk about Jauan Jennings. You could talk about these rookies, Trey Lance, Aaron Banks. They have no qualms whatsoever, the 49ers organization, with sitting these rookies and just allowing them to develop, even into their sophomore year. They just cultivate and cultivate and cultivate. Week 18, the game that we were just showing you, absolute stud. Player of the game for sure. 6 receptions on 7 targets, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. First downs, touchdowns. That's what this dude brings. That's it. That's what he does. And, if you look at what he brings, here's what's crazy to me. I thought with the selection of Danny Gray in the 3rd round that him and Jennings would pair up to be that wide receiver 3. I do not believe that anymore. I really, really don't. I think Jauan Jennings had the best camp and offseason of any player on the 49ers organization. He gets the John Chapman offseason award. And so, Danny Gray's not taking anything away from him. Plus, Danny Gray tweaked his hamstring, and so even more work went to Jauan Jennings. Now, it's not a bad thing. What I think it means is Danny Gray role from what I initially anticipated was going to be to kind of, in between the 20s, you got Danny Gray. In the red zone, you got Jauan Jennings. The 3rd downs, you got Jauan Jennings. That was what I thought. I'm going to revamp that. I think Danny's Gray role now is all 3 wide receivers. I think that he's not just going to be a slot guy. He can be a slot guy, but he can be an outside guy as well because of the vertical threat. So I thought Danny Gray snaps would be at the expense of Jauan Jennings. I don't think that anymore. I think Danny Gray snaps come intermittently with all 3 wide receiver spots because that wide receiver 3, the slot job, it's owned. It's stamped. Jauan Jennings took it. That's what I believe. Now, look at the stats that he had, okay, in 2016. 38 targets, 24 receptions, 282 yards, 5 touchdowns, 11.8 yards per carry. He only had 24 catches. But the impact that he had late in the season, playoffs, week 18, that we don't win. We don't go to the playoffs without Jauan Jennings, period. And if, the walk-in touchdown was incredible for sure, at the end of the game. But no, the plays he made before that was clutch. That was clutch. My projections in 2022 for Jauan Jennings. I got him 71 targets, so almost double the targets. 44 receptions. He had 24. I got him going 44. 525 yards, 6 touchdowns, 11.9 yards per carry. So I don't want to go through the roof. I mean, he's not a 1,000-yard receiver. I got him at 525. But those are impactful snaps as somebody that doesn't play a lot of snaps. Again, I don't think his snap rate's going to increase from the last 10 weeks of the season. In postseason. I think 25 to 35 snaps a game. That's it. With Trey Lance, you're still going to do a lot of 12 personnel and 22 personnel with tight ends and fullbacks. He's not going to be getting starter reps. He's going to continue to be the third down guy, and that's perfect. Bring in the spark, third downs, get the first down, get the touchdown. That's what I want to see. So I love this guy. He's so freaking fun, man, and easy to root for. So easy to root for. So that's number 25, wide receiver Jauan Jennings. As, man, we've done 90 through 25. We still got 25 more to go. Want to say thank you to Anthony and Josh, producers of this series and this show, all the background. How would we know that Jauan Jennings' name is Bernie without these freaking rock stars? So just want to say thank you, and we're going to keep counting them down.